has admitted that his down year last season took a toll on him, saying, quote, "I think the hardest part about last year is you feel like you let your teammates down. That hurts. Just having the year I had last year, you don't need more motivation than that. I just know the type of player I am. I don't think I showed that last year. I've got a lot to prove." Not shying away from it. Shannon, is there more pressure on Dak this season or Zeke?
Wrote this article. They know damn well it ain't more pressure on Zeke than it is Dak Prescott. First of all, Dak's the quarterback. Everything starts and stops with him. The man just got a $160 million contract, $75 million in his first year. Now it's time for Dak to take that next step to show that he was worthy of the contract. Skip, that's the way it works. Dak is coming off an injury, and he's not going to play. I'm glad. I'm glad he's not going to play, because now we can go past this. Well, we're thinking about it. Preseason's not that important. We'll know. After he doesn't play Saturday or whenever they play, he's not going to play the following Friday or Saturday, and we'll be done with this and we're on to September 9th.
Oh, McCarthy all but said it's over. He's not going to play.
Stop dancing.
Yeah, right.
So, but Skip, here's a guy that hadn't played in 11 and a half months. He's coming off a very serious injury. He's not going to play in the preseason. Jerry Jones was very reluctant to give him the contract. The man sitting right next to him. You got me with this one. You won this negotiation.
You did.
I overpaid you. And you talking about there's more pressure on a running back? If this is a quarterback-driven league. The immense amount of pressure, because remember, Skip, the year before, he had an opportunity to win the division, and you said yourself, he didn't play good down the stretch.
He did not.
We look at how he was playing. Yeah, he was throwing for a bunch of yards, but they were empty calories. They were losing. He gets hurt, and you don't think there's pressure? Man, yeah, I'm sure Zeke wants to have a bounce-back season. Yes, Zeke feels that he's let his team down every time you don't play up to your capabilities. But when a team invest that kind of money in you, they pay you as a top 5 quarterback, now it's your job to go out there and prove to them that you are a top 5 quarterback. Anything less than winning the division, anything less than going very, very far. Skip, they got to make it to the NFC Championship game. It ain't no more, oh, we made it to the playoffs and then lose in the first round. They got to go to the championship game. That's the kind of pressure. Don't let anybody else tell you. Don't let anybody fool you. And talk about this is all Zeke. If Zeke don't play well, no. Skip, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't draft C.D. Lamb for Zeke. They didn't give Amari Cooper $20 million for Zeke. They did that for why? The quarterback. They said, we want to see if Dak's the real deal. They traded a first and a third to go get Amari Cooper. When they needed defense, they took C.D. Lamb. They didn't take a wide receiver for Zeke. Man, stop this foolishness. The pressure is on one Dakota Rain Prescott, a.k.a. for short, Dak.
I hope Rain is spelled R-E-I-G-N.
You better hope so.
He reigns.
You better hope so.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to speak once again by disqualifying myself as a Cowboy fan lifelong. I do not agree with your premise. You are looking from the outside in. I'm looking from the inside out.
Okay.
All the pressure for me is on one Ezekiel Elliott this year, because my quarterback weirdly keeps getting honeymoon after honeymoon. And I think he just got another honeymoon phase of his career with yet another injury. If you think hard about what has happened through his contractual impasse with Jerry Jones, he became a national sympathetic figure.
Okay.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Because everybody, including you, said Jerry is doing him wrong. Come on, Jerry, pay the man.
Yeah.
He's earned it. And I kept saying, he's not earning it right now through the rest of 2019 when he was betting on himself.
Right.
He played worse and worse down the stretch, especially on the road at New England and at Philadelphia and at Chicago, and you know those games.
Right.
And then on top of that, he had the tragic loss of his brother to suicide. And we segue from that into the regular season. And what happens? In the 5th game of the year, he suffers a career-threatening compound fracture of his ankle.
Right.
It required 2 surgeries to get right, as we've seen on Hard Knocks. And the sympathy for Dak began to build and build, because people look back at the first 4, and I'm sort of 2/3 of a game that he played, and you realize he was on a record passing pace. And it was mostly because of what you call empty calories. They were falling so hopelessly behind so quickly. against a Cleveland or an Atlanta at home that it was hard to watch, but he was throwing for 1 billion yards.
Yes.
He was running away with the lead in passing yards and was on an all-time pace to set a record for passing yards, and yet they were very lucky that they weren't, in those first 4 starts, 0-4. They should have been 0-4, except for the miracle against Atlanta and the watermelon kick, right? But in the fourth quarters of those games, as you know, he was throwing for anywhere from 150 to 250 yards. And they were piling up. And now all I read is that, man, Dak Prescott, he's an MVP candidate, because if he can pick right up where he left off, right?
Yes.
Okay. But again, they're letting him off the hook. I don't think anybody's saying he's got to live up to $75 million, because here we go again. And as Mike McCarthy, you mentioned, acknowledged yesterday, he's not going to play at all in the preseason. And McCarthy even went so far to say is that ideally they had this plan in place where in the final 3, they're playing 4. So I don't know if he's meaning the first 3 games or the last 3 preseason games. But he said they had a plan in place where he'd go 10 to 15 plays in the first game, quarter in the second game, a whole half in the third game. Maybe the third game they would look at as this one this Saturday. Well, that was their plan. And he said, we had that all in order. And he said, unfortunately, camp doesn't always go the way you would like. Well, now he's got some weird arm injury, and I've never heard of a quarterback having this arm injury, certainly in training camp. So you don't think he's off the hook a little bit?
No, because think about it, Skip. You give me the stat all the time. Dak last 17 games, he's 6-11. Okay. When people keep saying, and many people have come out here, we say Zeke is the most important. You say we crazy. If Dak Prescott is the most important, and the Cowboys go as Dak go, not as Zeke go, now you want to let Dak off the hook and say it's Zeke?
Okay, but now he showed you in the first minutes of episode 1 of Hard Knocks, he showed you his wishbone scar. He had 2 surgeries to get his ankle right. Okay, so we got that as a sympathy factor, and now he can't really cut loose and throw.
And guess what? And he had a money cast over that scar. Jerry don't want to hear anything about that. Skip the expectations that comes along when you pay a quarterback that kind of money. Do you understand the expectations? It's just like Josh Allen. The expectations now.
You don't think he's got excuses built in?
No, Dak ain't got no excuses because
double surgery and an arm injury.
Well, hold on. What they got to do with the money we gave him? So so now you get a grace period.
But yeah,
you don't get no Skip. Now especially in football.
Hey,
you don't get no grace period in pro sports.
Well, you want to talk about grace periods? The one for number 21 just ended abruptly because he led the league in rushing his first 3 years, in yards per game. Like 109 a game as a rookie. Dominated. 98 a game second year, 96 a game third year. Got his money. Fell to 85 a game, fell last year to 65 yards a game. And if we look at 20-plus yard runs, in 2016 as a rookie, he had 14 20-plus yard runs. That led all of football. Last year, he had 3.
But Skip.
You want to talk about shell of yourself?
But think about this. Think about where they started. This was a run-based team. But they've morphed into a throwing to put the ball in Dak's hand.
Yeah, but all I hear is we want to balance it up this year.
Yeah, I know what they're saying.
Okay.
Skip, you don't pay a guy $40 million to have him turn around and hand the ball off to Zeke Elliott 30 times a game. You pay a guy that kind of money because you believe he can take you to the promised land throwing the football.
Okay, but we're looking at Zeke make or break this year. It's not make or break for Dak Prescott.
No. I'm not saying it's make or break, but the amount of pressure. Because what did he say? I need my money. Well, I'm not coming around. I'm not participating in anything till you give me my money. Okay, they gave him his money. So now what you going to do to show me this money was warranted?
Okay.
You got to win. You got to do it.
So what have I heard from my friends who are Cowboy fans about the first 2 episodes of Hard Knocks? All I